Welcome to the Avance Podcast. I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick. And we are, as ever, broadcasting somewhere in the Pacific Northwest.
Somewhere hiding.
We're somewhere hiding.
People don't know we're here.
I'm in a building where I'm not supposed to be. No. So, yeah.
You signed the form. You're fine.
I did. I signed many forms. Mostly form people. Never mind. So
Release forms.
I have a little story.
Okay.
I have a Hot Wheels collection.
You do.
And I thoroughly go to Targets every once in a while. And I was in there, and there was a couple of Pacific Northwest moms, we'll call them. And the one mother was talking to the other mother about how grateful they are that Hot Wheels was making an electric car pack. Like there was a Prius and a Nissan Leaf, and how she was so grateful. And I wanted to go over there and smack it out of her hand and be like, no.
Your kid does not want, oh my God, the Hot Wheels Prius.
If it's an electric race car, I'm all about it. No.
Yeah.
They were really happy, and I was like, I couldn't do it. But
Tesla,
no.
something.
Yeah, but she was like, it's a Prius. He's going to love it. And I was like, I don't want to meet that kid.
No, he's not.
He's not an automotive fan.
Cool Prius. Nobody.
He says nobody, yeah.
Practical, functional Prius. Yes.
That's all I have to say.
Cool?
Yeah.
No. Anyway.
I hang out in Target by myself way too much.
So sure, Bryson is an expert Prius racer. We'll get to him in a second, though.
Oh, yeah. He looks like he's definitely got the Honda Prius or the Honda Prius.
Wow.
Never mind. Moving on.
Yeah. We were a car show.
I guess. I'm not ashamed that I don't know who makes the Prius. I will never apologize for that. So
fair.
Yeah.
Oh, so we do the Carter Automotive Group Tip of the Week.
Sure.
I had a weird one this week. You're going to laugh at this, but I had to find a solution. I really did. So we have had
away from you. Or
no,
oh, okay.
We have had an unprecedented amount of rain and snow in the mountains this year. Like the worst it's ever been. Everything else is on fire, drying out. We are flooding like crazy. Yellowstone's washing away. Pacific Northwest has had just nothing but rain. Like it's insane how wet it is up here still. So about 2 weeks ago, I was working on the garden, did some Home Depot runs, picked up a bunch of potting soil, had it in the back of the truck, took it out.
So domesticated.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Took it all out, right? But, it's potting soil. It gets a little bit everywhere in the back of the truck. What I also have in the back of the truck is a bed mat.
Oh.
So what happened is my garden started in the back of the truck.
Oh, it started growing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So all these little plants.
A mobile garden? That's
growing
cool.
in the bed mat of the truck. I opened it up in the back, which
does that offset your being that you're driving a Raptor? Does that offset that?
Eco boost for sure.
Yeah. You're producing oxygen while killing it.
I'm reducing my own carbon footprint.
Okay, there's the phrase I was looking for, but okay, yeah.
Well, I had to have a solution though. I'm like, well, I don't want to. The bed mat's not ruined. It can take you can throw gasoline in the thing.
Dan, did you mow your truck?
I should have. Yeah, I thought about mowing the truck. Yeah. Well, I was like, what's the easiest way to get rid of this? And so I actually just sprayed it with vinegar.
Why didn't you just it's growing out of the mat.
It's growing out of the mat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, well, what's a great natural weed killer? Well, a long time ago, I used to work in body shops.
Correct.
Yeah. And so we used to have to pull out the back of trunks when they would get hit, they would get soaked. All that water would sit in there. And then one of the tricks we would do was we'd spray them down with distilled vinegar and then power wash them.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Sure enough, I sprayed it down with vinegar at night, took it out next morning, power washed it, everything dead, everything gone, clean as a whistle. So
2 important steps. Spray the vinegar, then power wash it. Then if you don't, then you smell like a canning.
Yeah. So it actually worked really well. But if you're ever in that mold situation, vinegar is a great natural weed killer. As a lot of people know if you're a homeowner, but if you don't, it's also like if you have a leaky trunk or something like that, you're trying to disinfect something, you don't want to bleach it, obviously, because it'll, if you've got carpet back there, you're going to bleach it.
Yeah.
Just distilled vinegar from any store. The higher the content, the better. But you don't need to go spend a bunch of money on chemicals or anything like that. I actually mixed it just 50-50 in a sprayer, put it on there. Like I said, I let it dry out in my shop, took it out, power washed it the next day, good as new. It's probably better. It smells better now. And the smell of the vinegar is not there. Once you power wash it off, it goes away immediately.
That's what he says. I can't even sit near you right now.
You just want fish and chips really bad now?
Oh, now I do. I want popcorn still.
Yeah, it smells like popcorn. Yeah. Anyway, kind of an odd one, but we've had a few odd ones lately. So that's when you're not ceramic proing your lawnmower.
Thank God you own a farm, or we wouldn't have any tips. So, yeah.
I'm getting some interesting ones lately, but yeah. Quick Carter Automotive Group Tip of the Week.
Nice.
Something tells me our guest this week, Bryson Lew, has not had to worry about that problem, especially when he's racing the new Super Trofeo, which I'm very jealous of because not only is it gorgeous, it's fast as hell. And
nobody ever lets us do that.
We get some cool stuff. We need to race them.
I know, but I don't fit in it, but yeah. I mean,
Neither of us fit in a
I went to his website. He weighs 135 pounds. I weighed 135 pounds in the first grade. So, yeah.
Yeah. Bryson, welcome to the show, and congrats on the ride and all of your other accomplishments. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You know a lot of our, Carl Noakes up here. You know some of our friends at Flying Husky Racing. But I always talk to our guests, and I'm like, tell me about when you grew up. But, you're 19, so you're still growing up.
How was prom?
So, yeah, exactly. We know you went to prom. We looked at your Instagram.
Yeah, it was very nice, by the way.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about how you got into racing and things like that, and where your love of automobiles comes from.
So when I was little, my dad would actually give me an allowance of, from the Cars movie, they made kind of Hot Wheels type things.
Yeah.
I would get those for every allowance I did. And then he also started pushing me around on a radio flyer. Kids always drive around on those radio flyers. I would go around our island and I'd do laps and just drift around kind of. So I've always just had a bug for it. And then he took me out to the kart track and I've just always loved it. And it's just always been a passion of mine. So. Yeah.
Does your dad share that passion? Is he a big automotive enthusiast?
He did some track days. I mean, if he's not working, he's looking at cars. So
okay,
yeah.
So yes, yeah, okay, yeah. That's Some of us look at cars while we're working.
Right. I was going to say later they just kind of mold together.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you get into the Lamborghini ride? Let's just start at the top from the latest. How did you get a ride with Lamborghini?
So it was actually a really random thing that fell together. My team owner reached out to me. I was hanging out with friends one day and I was just looking at sponsorship stuff and doing that thing. And he actually called me on the spot and he was like, are you interested in running Lamborghini Super Trofeo? And he told us basically what everything laid out basically. And it was a super cost efficient series. And for what it was, they were a winning team. So we didn't have any question there. And who doesn't want to drive Lamborghinis? That's
right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of cool factor going on there.
Saying yes before the question is asked. Yes, I'm going to do that, please.
It's very attractive to sponsors, as you know, like Lamborghini. Yeah. There's so many B2B connections with Lamborghini because it's such a high performance car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that series because I actually don't know a ton of it. I know that I've seen some obviously YouTube and things like that, some owners and things like that. Mainly, what's the gentleman from Underground Racing or whatever that's got, I think, one. But tell us a little about the series, where you race. Is it only not Pacific Northwest, USA, or are you racing across the pond as well?
So we do one race actually in Portugal, but it's all over the U.S. mostly. A lot of the races are on the East Coast, Road Americas, races like that. But one's actually in Portimao, which is the finale for it. And it's all spec Lamborghini. There's 34 cars, I want to say. And it's super close racing. Everybody keeps it pretty clean. The starts are really clean, so no complaints there. And I mean, we're racing Lamborghinis. It's
sure.
Yeah, what a rush.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and obviously everybody's got the same cars, but did they just do something to those cars? Was there an update? Was a body update or something? I heard. Okay.
Yeah. So from the Evo 1 to the Evo 2, there was a small change in the braking system, and then they also did an aero package.
Okay.
And then some other little things, but I didn't get the chance to drive the Evo 1, so I couldn't compare both of them yet. But
it's always interesting to me when they we did an aero package. I'm like, it's a race car. The whole thing is an aero package. We added an extra canard and a fin. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And then after actually the finals in Portimao, they're holding a shootout for the young drivers, which I just got selected for one, which was super cool. So it's basically they're grooming you to become a factory driver, pretty much.
Okay.
So,
very cool.
That wouldn't suck. You get to drive the new, what's the new Aventador race car that they just came out with? I literally just saw one on the track when they had that big hypercar shootout at
Asenza.
Huh?
Asenza? I think
Yes, I think that's what it is. Like
Yep.
I said, I didn't even know we had any in the United States, and then I watched a bunch of videos that they had that big hypercar shootout at Laguna Seca like a couple weekends ago.
Oh yeah, that was super cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I went to look it up and now I can't find it, but
that's okay.
yeah. I'm glad we have somebody who knows.
I mean, it's Italian. You know, it's going to be something. You know, when Lamborghini describes their cars and the names, I'm like, okay. I mean, just tell me how to pronounce it. I mean, I don't know how many times I've gotten in conversations with people with Hurricane. You know, so, yeah. Super Trofeo.
I don't know how you have time for anything, though. I was looking over, like, you know, I went to your About page on BrysonLewRacing.com.
Dan's been stalking you.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm right there with you. Yeah. So.
But I mean, you're skiing. It's just there's a lot of stuff. You're into all sports, and I know a lot of racing drivers, and a lot of them are into the same kind of stuff. Cycling, because it's a great exercise sport, or swimming. They're usually into that. Skiing is another big one. Then one jumped off the page at me, and I was like, well, that's badass. Piano classes and performance for 7 years.
Yeah, when I was little, I don't do it anymore, but
I was wondering. That's pretty cool, though.
yeah, it definitely helped me with like rhythm. I won't ever have to worry about like if you're at a wedding, you won't ever have to worry about off rhythm dancing or anything.
This is your man to dance. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then black belt in Kung Fu.
Yeah, I did that for a while. It was amazing training, such good discipline. Unfortunately, I stopped, but it was a huge time commitment, and I chose racing. So yeah,
I understand that. Yeah, and I can imagine, I can see the crossover on how well that discipline must play into racing.
Oh yeah, like when I was little, I used to be able to do 100 push-ups. Now I can't even barely do 50. No, I'm kidding though.
I was like,
I used to be able to too. And then my sensei would yell at me for things that I didn't know. Okay, I was cheating. But it was a different world, trust me. Literally, you weren't born yet.
so you're over in Utah, right? That's where your home base is?
I go to University of Utah over here. I'm in my first year studying finance.
How does going to school and a racing career work? How does that, like, I mean, I never did real well in school, and I was distracted, and I was not a race car driver. So how does that work in your schedule? I mean, or is it because things are a little bit more online now that you're able to do that, or?
Yeah, the online classes really helped me like kind of balance everything, because like I'll log into a Zoom call at a race weekend or something like that, or I'll be doing homework during the race weekend throughout, kind of just doing like bits and pieces. It's really hard though, because I mean, racetrack and homework don't really combine together. So, yeah. But yeah, I've just always kind of like during high school year, I had to go to 2 high schools because one was an independent study school, and then the other one was like an intense kind of high school. And then it just carried over through college, kind of just balancing everything and focusing on the racing aspect when racing needs to have focus, and then school when I need to be academically there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I could not do that. Trying to keep your head in the game on a race weekend and then having school.
Like, I need to win, and I also need to write a 3-page paper on Ulysses. So, what are you majoring in?
You said finance, right?
Finance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Glad you listened.
I'm going more towards the like investment banking industry, just because we have, like through racing, there's so many connections, so many people in the car industry. So like, I'm hoping I can tap into that market, kind of. Yeah.
Investment banking, the people that put their names on the side of race cars. I see where this is going.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a smart move already right here. I think
I'm hearing a tax write-off if he can become, an investment banker and put his name on the side of his race car. There's a tax loophole there somewhere. So, yeah.
So how did you get engaged with our friends at Flying Husky Racing? I know you were doing some coaching with them not too long ago with the Ridge, I think I saw.
Yeah, so I just started coaching with them, and I mean, it's a great group. They have haircuts during their track days, which whoever gets a haircut at a track day, like that's not unheard of.
That's weight savings 101. Right? I mean, come on.
So I was talking with Carl, actually, and he was telling me he was actually at Monterey when we were racing Lamborghinis. So, and then he talked about your podcast and kind of how you had Benjamin Peterson on, and then he showed me your magazine and everything, and it was just a super cool kind of connection type of thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Avance has been incredible. And Carl makes, I don't know if you've seen some of his photos. They're absolutely amazing the way he takes photos. I don't understand. He tried to explain it to me once, and he's like, you got to have your background and then wait for the foreground. I'm like, but what if I don't know what's coming in the foreground? So
it's artists speak for I stand here and something happens.
Yep, pretty much. Lazy bastard. Where did you grow up? Are you from Utah?
No, I'm originally from the Bay Area.
Okay.
Moraga, California. I don't know if you guys know where that is. San Francisco. It's near San Francisco, kind of Walnut Creek area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. We usually drive down to Monterey every year for Car Week, so we end up going through some of the smaller towns and things like that, which is kind of fun. But,
becomes worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Is your family still there?
No. Yeah. My family's in the Bay Area,
Nice.
but I live with my sister right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I was wondering the Utah connection how you get over there. It's a great place to be, especially you ever get a chance to go explore some roads, man. Utah is heaven.
Off-roading.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. What are you driving? You got a fun daily driver?
I drive a 4Runner, so that
Nice.
typical Utah car.
It really is.
I was going to say, yeah. That's like saying I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I drive a Subaru.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to Utah. Here's your 4Runner or your Jeep. Take your pick. You only get two.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where do you want to see your career going? Like, I mean, do you want to be in a certain series, or is something more appealing to you than others? Obviously, you don't turn down the opportunity to get behind the wheel of a race car ever, let alone a Lamborghini.
Yeah. So at the start, my career started in Formula cars, and I raced over in France for a year and did that deal. And I wanted to become the next IndyCar F1 driver like everybody else wanted to be. And then I realized like opportunities are so slim, and I'm also going to school, so it's going to be a huge sacrifice. I'm going to have to choose one or the other. So then GT cars kind of came about, and you can kind of balance it more, and there's a lot more opportunities in GT cars. So my goal right now is kind of to become a factory driver, and I'm set up nicely with Lamborghini, so hopefully that stays. But basically, that's like all the manufacturers, BMW, all those, they all have factory drivers, and they all choose someone to support. So that's kind of where I'm aimed towards. Yeah. And I also want to do coaching because I just like to help out the community, and just it's cool to see like whether it's younger drivers, older drivers, just shave off seconds off their times and just like makes them happy. Yeah. So
what is that series or the car spec that's in 24 Hours of Le Mans that's not like the super, like it's the BMWs, the Corvettes, the Aston.
GT?
Is it GT2 or GT?
It's
just GT.
I don't even know anymore.
Oh, okay.
It
might be
just GT3, right?
Okay, GT3. Yeah,
Yeah,
with Porsches and all that. Like,
yeah.
I always like watching them the most, especially in the races, because I mean, obviously there's a lot faster cars and they're trying to get around it, but not only, you're trying to navigate that horrible track, let alone. But those have always kind of been my favorite races to watch, and kind of, I mean, I like the prototype cars. I think that's cool. I mean, and I will always, think the whole, the Ford versus Ferrari thing was really neat, but I think that's kind of the series I've leaned to. Not even though I don't necessarily know the name of the series.
Oh, yeah. And it's super cool to see like all the different manufacturers. Like each car has its different characteristic. Like a BMW might have better straightaway speed than like a McLaren or something, and the McLaren might handle better, and then the Lamborghini might just be all around better car or something like that. So yeah.
Just mean. Lamborghini's just mean.
Yeah.
Are your race cars, are they rear wheel drive or all wheel drive?
Rear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rear bias. Okay. Interesting. I don't know. Like I said, I think we've seen one. I think I've seen one, and it's been in Monterey. It was on the lawn.
Yeah. I've seen them. I've never followed the series.
Mowing the lawn?
Huh? No, mowing the lawn. Pretty much on a golf. Yeah. I mean,
it was at Concorso Italiano.
Concorso. Dan and I, as the car guys always were like, how do you get that on the golf course? I'm like, I don't know. Like, just drive it. Something breaks. It's not mine. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, so Lamborghini found you. Is there a car you'd like to drive or have driven that really, either street car or race car that
My favorite car right now is the Lamborghini, just because it sounds so amazing, and they just have great support. And I've driven the M4 GT4, and then I've also driven the Mercedes AMG GT4.
Okay. Yeah.
And
those are based off the C series, or no?
Well, loosely, maybe.
Loosely. Okay. Well, I mean, because underpinnings. I mean, obviously, Lamborghini's got the Huracan.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. Yeah.
Those cars are, I mean, amazing cars. As every manufacturer has made, they put all their time and effort into each car they build. And I mean, the Lamborghini's a lot. It's basically the same speed as a GT3. It has more horsepower and a little bit less aero. So it depends on the track and depends on which left and rights you're turning.
Yeah.
More horsepower, less aero, which means more likely to take off. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Nice. What's your favorite street car right now? You've done coaching, so I'm kind of curious where that road is taking you. I don't really have a favorite street car. There's just so many that they just each have their strong suits. And what about you guys?
He's going to do really well in politics and things like that, because it's he never makes anybody feel bad, which is amazing. So
I try not.
Dan, we fall back on these stories all the time because we're old. We were loaned a couple of McLaren 570s for a week.
That was great.
We both put 1,000 miles on it, and nobody thought we would. I mean, I drove the store 90 times, but there's so much out there right now that amazes me. I am a big two-door kind of rear engine. I'd like to get behind the wheel of a new GT, the Ford GT. I think that'd be kind of interesting. Size-wise, I've sat in it, and having somebody else my size in there doesn't really work. It's sort of like trying to slam yourself into a Cessna 152. So I probably have to be alone, and I don't know any GT owners that are going to let me be alone with their car. So that's kind of for some reason that's where I'm kind of at right now. I was watching YouTuber Shmee150, and he was at that hypercar event, and he was racing with Racewife's husband. And if you know Instagram, you know Racewife. He's a Google exec, and she races it. But he just picked up. He's got a matching GT and then the new GT race car, and they were doing laps in that. And I was
the track only. No, it doesn't actually have a race class. It's just a track.
There's only 45 of them. It's just to go out and have fun. But that appeals to me. Being a bigger guy, I'm almost 6 foot and I'm 250 on a good day. I don't fit in a lot of things, so there is something to that in the fact of the kind of the cars mentally in my mind that I think I could fit in a GT by myself, but other than that, I don't know. So, how about you, Dan?
It depends what I'm doing. My Turbo S was probably the best street car I've ever had, and I would imagine the 992. I've driven the 992, but I haven't driven a Turbo S.
Okay.
And so I would imagine that if it's an upgrade from the Carrera 4S is probably still going to top my list as street cars go.
Yeah. The new GT3 is on my list too.
Yeah. And those are beautiful, but I love the all-wheel drive for the street. And that's because it's street manners are accordingly. On the track, it'd be a different story. It's a heavier car, and obviously it's going to move around a lot, and you could feel the weight. When I've driven other GT3 RSs, there's a huge difference in weight, and you can really feel it. But the Turbo S is just amazing on the street for all the mixed road conditions you're going to run into.
Yeah.
Gravel, wet, doesn't matter. It's got magic diffs and software. Just hit the gas at the point where you want to go. And that's fun on the street. I think I'm looking forward to the most the new C8 Z06, which I probably will have one in a couple of years. I think that'll be my next major purchase. I'm not going to buy the first year, of course, when it's falling apart like every Chevy.
What did you hear? It finally comes with all the oil you need to take it to the track.
I've heard.
The new one? Yeah.
What color?
Yeah.
The Dan spec is white on black interior. That's kind of a running joke. I don't buy black cars because I put about 25,000 miles a year on them, so I don't buy dark colors. I have had a lot of them, and I would prefer black, but that's a third car thing. I'll probably do the same spec. I don't know yet though. There's a chalk white. I'll do that too. That isn't played out for me. I don't care what anybody says.
He's totally turned this interview on us, by the way.
I know, it's fine.
Have you had a car? You asking me about my favorite car, and I have an answer for this too. Have you had a car that you drove that's sort of like one of those don't meet your heroes things? Like one of my cars that I wanted to drive forever was a Huracan Spider, and I sat in it at barely 5'11", 5'12", and I was above the windshield, and I'm like, it just ruined it for me. Like I couldn't think about driving that car. Like it was just, yeah. Have you been in something where you're like, oh, this is going to be great, and then it's like it just didn't work out?
I don't think so. Maybe a Prius.
Oh, okay. No, that lives up to the horrible hype that it is. Yeah, good answer though. It's like, again, he's going to go into politics.
Wow, this is even worse than I thought.
That's what they say. The first thing you should do when you buy a Prius is get rid of it or tint the windows so nobody can see you driving it. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with a Prius. I know I'm going to get hate mail for this, but oh well.
Well, I mean, it's practical, but it's how does the saying go? I had no expectations, and I'm still disappointed.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've never driven anything and was disappointed by it. I mean, as a driver, you always work around any kind of flaws, kind of. So, I mean, if one car kind of did this, then you just kind of change your style, and it rolls, has an engine, just go. Yeah.
That's actually a good thing to talk about there. So one of the things I've noticed as a trend with drivers we talk to is exactly what you just said. For most of us, we just kind of drive a certain way, and that's how we drive. And a professional driver doesn't do that. A driver adapts to his car suspension, his aero, his power, his tires, all that. And they drive very different ways depending on conditions, all sorts of different things. And we just kind of get in and do the same thing and hope it works out.
I just drive aggressive. I drive aggressively no matter what it is, but yeah.
Yeah. You remember you were talking about something, it was on your Instagram, it was just like pouring rain. Like, how do you feel about mixed conditions driving on the track and things like that?
I love driving in the rain. It's like really, it kind of adds a different factor because, I mean, in a field of 34 cars, you could have some drivers that just completely fall to the back and some drivers that love the rain and just are having a blast out there. So it really kind of mixes up the field. And you see drivers that might be like in the back move all the way to the front. And you might see drivers all the way in the front move to the back. So it gives everybody kind of it gives everybody a chance and kind of see everybody excel in different conditions. So, yeah.
Keeps the competition interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's a skill. I mean, even driving in the rain on a streetcar, it's a skill. I mean, let alone, and that's trusting your car, making sure, you got the right tires on it. I mean, obviously with streetcars, we're so used to just having an all season and we think we're fine. That'll handle high speed. That'll handle snow, rain. You're fine.
Auto.
Yeah, exactly. The car will get it right eventually. Yeah.
Not a GTR driver slap, because I think it kind of was.
Pretty much, yeah. Says the guy that goes, I just point the Porsche into the corner and hope it makes it.
I learned it from my GTR.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So you mentioned off-road. You're in Utah. And you got a 4Runner, man. That's heaven out there. Even if it's not modified, Utah is amazing for anything with even just a stock wheel drive. You can have fun out there.
Yeah.
Where have you gone?
Flats recently with my friends, and it was just like, I've never been there, and it was a little overhyped. Like I thought.
Where, I didn't hear the first part. Where did you say you went?
Oh, Salt Flats.
Oh yeah.
We actually were gonna stay out there, but then it got like super windy and it was gonna get rainy. So then like our tents would have just gotten completely screwed up. So we ended up just driving along the Salt Flats. I mean, there's not much to do there. It's just, I thought there's going to be like kind of mountains of some sort or something like that. And it was just flat. And we explored. So it was fun.
You got to go out and find those moving stones. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that did somebody say, and again, that they're going to stop people from driving out on the Salt Flats? Like that's a thing?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I thought I had heard something come down the grapevine that said that was going to not be a thing. Like you could go out there, but there wasn't going to be like racing or high speed stuff in there.
Last time I was there, the ranger was like, it's there. I was like, how do you go to the salt flats? He's like, you just
drive off
there.
the road. Drive off the road. Act like it's an accident.
I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I could totally see more cars flipping there for sure. Like if people just, like, didn't, because there's people just like hauling at 90 miles an hour, and I mean they don't have any driving experience, and then they just flip the wheel, and car just goes tumbling.
I saw the Mazda commercial. They did this. You just jerk the wheel at 90 and the car makes a really cool arc as it rolls down the salt flats. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not super smooth. The track is where they groom it, but the flats themselves have these little ridges, and you can feel them until you get up above about 90. Then they're fantastic in the Raptor, but until then, it's a dun. Yeah.
Just remember, though, if you're in a Raptor on the salt flats and your sunroof is open, don't put your hand on your headliner. Yeah, the headliner's not weight bearing. Just FYI. So,
some stories from that. It's a great place. You got to head over to Moab, man. There's you want off roading. You don't need anything like the trail guides are accurate. Easy is easy. Moderate is moderate. Hard is hard. So you can go anywhere in a 4Runner, though. I mean, it doesn't take anything.
Yeah, I haven't gone out there yet, but I have to check that out.
Let's talk about that, because I feel like people look at that and they go, "Oh, it's a hard course. Well, I know how to drive, therefore I'm going to go do that." But it's not necessarily like, "Oh, I know how to drive, but I'm also driving a stock Legacy, Subaru Legacy, and I shouldn't be here." I think there's so many times. I mean,
so they manage it pretty well over there, and because they're used to idiots like that.
So they're not afraid to say no to somebody.
Not afraid to say no, but they also usually have what they call a control entry. Where it's like if a trail is hard and you try and go in with something that is not capable, you won't make it past the entry point.
Oh, okay.
So they purposely set up stones and obstacles that you kind of have to go over.
Is that what they're doing at Yellowstone right now?
The bridge is gone. You'll need a boat. No. Exactly. But no. So there's purposely that kind of stuff, like massive signs like, hey, this is a really hard trail. And then it's just even get in there. There's usually, they've set it up really well where you're not going to get where you can't be recovered without breaking in the first 100 feet typically, which is great. So,
okay. Now I learned something.
Yeah.
The more you know. Yeah. So, I mean, is there, have you thought about, like, we've talked to some of these racers and we're trying to get a couple other people on about like electric racing, some of these, the electric series and the off-road series and stuff like that. I mean, is that something that appeals to you, would like to try?
Definitely the off-road trucks that's super cool. Like the trophy trucks, like that series that they have there is really appealing. And then the Formula E is actually it's up and coming. I mean, it's going to be, I don't want to say it's the next Formula One, but it's definitely going to be really popular soon. Actually, one story I just heard about was autopilot racers. So it's like an AI racer.
Please no. Please no. Oh God, no.
And basically, they were having like an argument about something, and they were like, basically they put a tape over their sensors, and it just destroyed $1 million project. And it was like 50-cent tape over one sensor, and it destroys the whole thing. So it's like they were talking about what's the flaw in it, and then some guy just took some tape, like boom, there we go.
The same flaw I would have if somebody covered my eyes.
Yeah.
I've tried to watch it. I mean, I have become, as much as I love automotive stuff, I've become an F1 fan over the last 2 years. Huge F1 fan. Really got into it. In fact, I wish I was going to Canada this weekend. But I try to watch Formula E, and it's so cool. But it's missing the sound. It's missing the downshifts. It's missing. Which is obviously kind of there, but it's not. There's just something to it. There, obviously, there's a mechanical sound to it, but there's something that doesn't. I don't connect with it like I want to, and I feel like with the AI, I saw some of that stuff too. I'm like, I feel like that's just like everybody shows up with their AI car and they go, okay, rock paper scissors, who's going to win today? Like, I mean,
well, hopefully the trickle down of that will lead to self-driving cars in cities, which I'm not opposed to because people are terrible drivers and aren't paying attention anyway.
So we have it. Like, have you seen the videos of the vans in like Arizona and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I mean, like actually using it because like right now they can't California stops are a thing, which just, not pausing entirely for a stop sign. If you actually stop for a stop sign in a busy intersection, everybody's just going to go in front of you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work if you follow the rules of the road. So that adaptation that they're learning from that AI stuff is kind of cool. The one I love to watch in the electric motorsports is Pikes Peak and hill climbs.
Yes.
Hill climb electric cars, awesome to watch. And that is where I actually enjoy watching. Most of the time, like you said, the noise I can't get engaged in it because I want to hear the engine just rev out. But
but also with Pikes Peak,
nuts.
There's rocks bouncing off of everything. So there's that.
Yeah, and they're so fast.
Yeah.
They're so fast, the electric cars are. So
it just means they go off the side a lot faster.
Yeah, Randy.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Who are your Tesla?
Yeah. Speaking of other racing drivers, what other racing drivers are you following? Who are your racing driver idols?
So, I mean, I follow my favorite F1 driver is Daniel Ricciardo, just because he's not a rock. He has a personality, and he's just great guy.
He got in trouble for flipping somebody off in Monaco. He was in the back of a filming, and they caught him flipping. He knew somebody in a building and flipped him off. I think he's getting in trouble for it. Just sucks. I love his personality. That's what I love about him. I mean, when they
are just like, hi, that's it.
Yeah. These are my sponsors. Please pay me. Which I understand to a point. It's tough because, like you said, it's actually a good example. You flip somebody off, you lose a sponsor. That's a huge deal. Even if it's a joke, it shouldn't be. It kind of drives me nuts because it's like, you're kind of making people into robots. Fast ones, but robots.
Daniel being the example here. His personality is also the way he drives. There's something to it. There's some spontaneity to it. There's some, I mean, we got to see him when we were in down at in Texas last year, and they gave him Dale Earnhardt's old NASCAR, and he was out there doing donuts.
Hell yeah.
It was absolutely awesome. So, I mean, but that's what's fun about it. I mean, and you're right. The drivers are a little, I think, and maybe you can answer this. I mean, I know that when you race, you're told when you're out of the car, you're thanking your sponsors, but you have to let some of your personality out, I think. And is it tough? I mean, or do you just find that it's like you have to do this and it's the way it is?
I think it's definitely just based on the person. Like for me, I'm kind of a shy person, and racing has kind of taught me you've got to reach out to people. You got to be that person that stands out. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that makes drivers different is their personalities. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's important. It's important to have, get out there and let them know, because I think you do represent the brand, and there are some things that you need to do, but also, at the end of the day, I feel like, I watch a guy get out of a Lamborghini, an owner or a racer. I'm like, he's going to have green hair, and he's going to be pumping rock music, and, and he's going to drive around with his doors up because he can. So, yeah. I remember that somebody told me that once, that Mercy on. He's like, we drive around with our doors up because the Gallardo guys can't. I was like, oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I see your race suits behind you. You got two different ones. What do you got?
Yeah, that one's my karting suit, and that one's Lamborghini suit. Yeah.
Nice. Are you still karting then?
Yeah. I have a shifter car out here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very cool. Very nice.
I mean, the best way of training, because it just beats you up. It's brutal on your ribs and everything. And the day after, I'm just like, oh. But I mean, it's great training. Super. I mean, it's inexpensive for me right now because I just go out there, work on my own stuff, and just have fun. So, yeah.
Are you doing much training on sims? So many race car drivers are now, getting in the simulators, and it's so much more cost effective for a team or a team owner to put you in a $100,000 simulator than put you out on the track. And
yeah.
I sim before every race.
Okay.
It's definitely something I need to tap into. I haven't done a lot of sim racing, but it's been so helpful, testing different stuff, feeling different setups, and just a lot of coaches actually do driver coaching on the sim, which I haven't done yet, but it's definitely something that interests me. Yeah.
It's so interesting to me because when I'll watch some of these teams and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we're testing new tires in the simulator." I'm like, wait, but if you're testing a tire, how do you know what it does unless you take it out and drive it, and then you can take that data and put it into the simulator? But
that's where I'm not 100% convinced, because it's not a direct parallel. Like, there's still going to be certain things that are off.
Sure. Yeah. I think the learning a track though, or seeing how a car reacts in theory and then applying it,
Any person that has lived with an Xbox or Forza, I could, in my mind, drive any track. I mean, I am so good on Laguna Seca. Now, you put me in a real car on that track, not so much. But this is nothing like the simulator sitting in my living room on my couch. So
way more bolster, though.
My couch is more comfortable. I'll give you that. Yeah. Excuse me.
All right. So give me your first crash story that comes out. So if you're racing, you're crashing now and then. What happened? And give me a good crash story.
Street circuit.
Oh, okay.
It was in it was Streets of Pau in France, and it was my first time ever on a street circuit. And on top of that, it was raining. So you can imagine what happened there. Basically, there was multiple crashes throughout the weekend. One I didn't get involved in, but one was like that super sharp turn at Monaco?
Yeah.
It's basically like that turn, and there was probably 15 cars piled up. Formula 4 cars. I avoided that one, luckily. But then later into the weekend, I hit one of these berms, and it lifted the car up high enough where I lost traction, and it just shoved me into a barrier. Yeah.
So it's the barrier's fault.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I tell you, those static barriers that come out of nowhere. Yeah. You were in a Formula 4 car that time?
Yeah.
Nice.
Any injuries from it? Did you walk away just fine then?
Yeah, I was perfectly fine, but it bruised my back. Yeah, from
ooh, ouch.
Because those cars don't have much. They have suspension, but it's not plush.
No, I mean, you got this much travel.
Yeah. It's not meant to help you crash. It's meant there to help you turn and things like that.
Yeah.
You don't realize how stiff those cars he brings up that turn in Monaco, and you watch some of those F1 cars go through there, and they're turning in, and the front wheel is lifting off the ground. There's no travel. So yeah, I don't know.
What are you looking forward to most in your upcoming? Well, where are you at in the season right now?
We're 2 races in. We are standing second in the championship points, and the next race is at Watkins Glen, New York.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. When is that race?
It's June 24th to 25th, I want to say. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've never actually been. Obviously you've spent time on Watkins Glen. Do you like the track?
Never been there.
You've never been? Okay.
Okay. If I haven't raced these tracks in prior seasons, I've never gone to them.
Okay.
So, because I don't have a testing budget, just because budget's really tight for me right now. I reach out to sponsors every day. But basically, I just go on the sim kind of, and then I go with friends or something, and we just spend hundreds of laps on the sim, and then go out there, and we have 1 and 2 sessions, and better get up to speed, otherwise you're not going to be there. So
literally off to the races.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Where are you going for sim? Do you guys have your own simulator? Or are you going to some of these places that just has simulators and renting them kind of thing?
I have a simulator right next to me.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay.
That's fair. Okay. I want to be there.
Yeah. Do you coach your friends on it?
No, because most of my friends that I go on the sim, if you have a sim, you're a decent driver. So we just have fun and kind of racecraft type stuff. Dog bomb, simulate some crashes sometimes.
Nice.
That's why people don't want to play Forza with me. I'm like, I just run you off the track, then there I win.
Yeah. I got to ask this. You brought up earlier. I think it was before the show. But how does your girlfriend like your racing career? How's that? Because you've got to have your no time. You're either studying, training, or racing That's got to be hard. How does she manage it? I mean, I'm sure she's proud of you, so there's that too. But
Yeah, I kind of just tell her, like, on the race weekends, like, I'm of no use to you. I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. And then
I care, but
and then obviously on the off weekends, I get to spend time with her. So it's a trade off for sure. Some sacrifices, but they need to be made. It's part of my life. So
yeah, it's not like she doesn't know where you are.
yeah,
yeah, but there's another side to that too. Like, he's off racing and he's a successful race car driver. No other women will want him. No insult to you, sir. So bless her. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
You guys just went to prom, right? Like that's
a couple
like
months ago.
yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
you're so young.
I went to her prom. She's 18.
Nice. Okay. Nice.
Cradle robber.
Yeah. Exactly. How dare you? The older race car driver and the younger woman. We've heard that story so many times.
Nice. Does she get to go out the races with you sometimes?
She went to Monterey, but
That makes
it's
sense.
just I'd love to have her at my races. It's just kind of hard balancing everything because I'm so focused. Like, we're doing data for 3 hours, and then I gotta, like, at Monterey we had people locally that came, so I had to tend to those people and kind of like talk with them, and then it's just so many factors going on.
Yeah.
So.
I get it. That's a hard struggle. You want to be attentive and be a good boyfriend and not be rude. And you also be like, but I have a job to do. This is not just play. I think it's a big difference when you're going to a track day versus you are a paid driver.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's work,
For sure.
So that's cool, though.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to race Monterey. Not race. I've never drive Monterey out of a simulator. Done it in Forza a billion times, but I've never had a chance to drive the track.
I can smell the desperation on you.
I know.
Just calm down.
I need to go. Anyway.
I want to too. Like, I mean, I there's something about, I mean, and it's not just having been there, but that track is just so iconic. Like, there's just so much classics. I mean, and half the time when I see it, the classics are racing on it. So that's probably why. But like, there's just so many people are drawn to that track, but I also love the turmoil of that track. Like, they've built all these houses, they're real close to the track, and now all these people living there are bitching about the racetrack. And I'm like, you moved next to a racetrack. Like, how do you, like,
What do you expect?
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think some of them are winning. It's like, well, we can only have track days so often. I'm like, come on.
I can, I love hearing Dirtfish in the background from my house.
Absolutely.
It's one of my favorite things. I live not too far from Dirtfish Rally School, like really close, obviously, less than a mile away as the crow flies. And in the fall, after all the leaves fall and the trees thin out, I can hear the track during the day. I mean, like, they only run like middle of the day hours, so it's not like they're interrupting anybody. But like, my neighbors are cool, but then so they like it too. But man, I would love that. Like, it's not like it's every single day, all day, and it's a great sound. I
mean, I think there would, as a car aficionado, I think there'd be a point where you'd be like, oh my God, I need to get some sleep. But two, I'd also be like, oh, I bought this and I moved here, so this is my fault.
Yeah.
It's not that young kid in the damn Lamborghini out there.
Right? Those guys.
Absolutely.
Right on, man. How do we watch you besides your social media? Is there a way to follow the series online or anything like that?
So it's on IMSA TV. It's on Peacock, and it's also on YouTube. I'm pretty sure, and it's all like their live streams. It's super cool. Yeah, on like NBC Sports or something. I'm pretty sure.
Every channel has 9 different channels.
I know. Well, I will link Bryson Lew Racing. That's LEW, BrysonLewRacing.com on the page for the show notes. So if anyone wants to check that out, and you should. He's got a cool Instagram. He's got great footage on your Instagram, great photos. And hopefully we will see you racing and winning this year.
I just started with, I'm doing Flying Huskies social media.
Oh, cool.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Because I enjoy social media. It's just a great way to kind of like express who you are. And I mean, you can't be a driver without social media.
No.
You have to have it. It's your marketing when you're not at the track, pretty much. So
that's why we're not drivers.
That's true.
Right there. Yeah.
That's great social media.
Only reason we're not drivers is because our social media presence isn't up there. Like,
right.
It's nothing to do with our skill, size, or those two things.
Age, yeah.
Age,
budget,
yeah.
yeah.
I forgot about budget. Yeah. Okay. Bryson, we really want to thank you for taking time. I know you're busy, and taking time out of your day to talk to us and kind of, and watch us be goofballs on here. So, yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch, man.
Yeah. For this episode of the Avance Podcast, as always, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.